desde hace 2 días que tomé posesión. Quizá un poquito más tarde. Y tengo hoy el gusto y el honor de compartir este acto con ustedes. So I'm very happy to welcome here such a talented meeting today. I've met several engineers, doctors, all with the common purpose of making something which looks impossible, the holy grail of personalized medicine, to make it happen, to make it true. And for that, we need to collaborate from many different perspectives, angles, academic tracks, and this is exactly at the boundary of these synergies is where the future happens. At the boundaries is where the magic happens and where advancement is possible. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Professor Nabil Haji.
Thank you very much. Buenos días a todos. Yo soy profesor también aquí en la Universidad de Sevilla, la Facultad de Medicina, en el Departamento de Bioquímica Médica y Biología Molecular y Inmunología. Y today I would love to introduce my friend here, Professor Mohammed Sharkawi. Later on, we'll introduce also Professor Zei. Both of them, they came from far, one from China, one from US. So we joined them together here in Seville. We're pleased to have both of them here. First, I will introduce Professor Mohammed Sharkawi. He's a provost and vice president of research of Long Island University in New York. He's an academic leader with more than 3 decades of research experience and over 15 years of senior leadership roles, specialist in biomedical engineering, materials science, and human digital twins. He will talk today about human digital twins. Also, he will show us about the disease digital twins, some examples. He ranks among the top 2%. I think we have some here probably also, which is good. We have best people in this room. He has published over 200 papers and is the author of landmark reference books in micromechanics, in John Wiley, and the nanotechnology, basically. And he has held professorship and with chair positions at institutions including Georgia Tech. So I will make it short, otherwise we will not finish here introduction. So Professor Sharkawi work amplified the future of global healthcare innovation, where AI, biology, and regulatory science coverage to redefine safety, efficacy, and personalized medicine. And I will give the floor to my friend and Professor Mohammed Sharkawi to give us this talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can move. You don't need to translate in Spanish?
No, that's fine. I think they understand English. Oh.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Nabil, for giving me this opportunity to be here in this prestigious university. So I was born and grew up in Morocco, and I know that Morocco is also rooted in Seville, particularly in Seville. There's a lot of common heritage between our countries. So I left Morocco when I was 16 years old, and I spent more than 30 years in the United States. And today, I would like to, I will wear my hat of a scientist. You know, of course, I run a big university. I do a lot of administration, of course, but I was always trying to keep my research passion with my PhD students, with my postdocs. So today I will just carry the flag and present all the breakthrough that was made by this beautiful mind people. They always qualify them as beautiful mind. you know, my PhD student, my postdocs, few faculty also. So today, I would like, you know, you see a kind of hall mark there. This is very, very important. It's called the Center of Excellence. And you see there two names. One is Dassault. I know that you guys heard about Dassault, which is a French company, which is a military-based company, engineering. So I will highlight why Dassault is a key element in this research. So they designate us as a center of excellence in life sciences. Back in 2020. And why Dassault? Because I spent my research career in collaboration with Dassault. You know, I am in their board of trustees. I serve in the foundations of many brands of Dassault, including Biovia, that I will highlight in my next slide. So just to let you, the context is a center of excellence, is an international network, because today we have more than 75 hospitals and universities under this center of excellence, which I qualify as a network of excellence. And thanks to Dr. Nabil, the University of CV will become a part of this network of excellence that is driven by personalized medicine. So I hesitate about the title. I said, you know, just to give you a kind of taste, a flavor, just to stimulate your thoughts. So it was a very ambitious title. So a human digital twin as a holy grail of personalized medicine. And I will showcase this in my presentation. It's not just a title, it's something which became intangible, how I can replicate my human body. Okay, I can build my human body organ by organ. Okay, connect organ to organ. But to design one single organ is not sufficient. I need to go down to the genome, all the way to the cells, from the cells to the tissue, from this tissue to the organ physiology. And then we connect. I will highlight, I will showcase our success story that lies in the heart and the way we developed the heart, the impact that we did with the heart. We develop a platform which is a unique platform for the liver, because the organ as the liver, it's amazing. It's basically control our toxins, it's control the way we ensure our metabolism. But the liver is connected to the heart. When the liver is not functioning very well, it will lead to heart disease. If the heart is not functioning well, it will lead to fibrosis in the liver, and all is connected, managed by the gut. Today, the gut is very important. It's control our microbiome. I know you heard about the microbiome, this thing that is emerging, and all is connected and managed by the flagship, and the flagship is the brain. Okay, so the beauty of science today is how all these organs are connected. So today, this kind of science, the first impact, beyond the research, personalized medicine, it's also basically come up with a new paradigm in education. Okay? So the definition, we have basically one of the oldest colleges of pharmacy in the world. The first cohort, it started in 1829. The first graduated doctor in pharmacy in our universities. And the entire university, it was built on this college of pharmacy. Of course, we have the medical school, we have the vet school, veterinary medicine. And what I can assure you today, this new paradigm with all what I described is provide a new definition of what is the future of a physician. Okay, what is the next generation of a medical doctor? What is the next generation of a pharmacist? So the next generation of, of medical doctor, today we name it, we have a project in the United States, a very unique initiative that we name them Physicianeer. So physician engineer. So today, with the emergence of all this technology, artificial intelligence, so we need to revisit, to reshape the way we train our medical doctors. Okay? The second example is the doctor in pharmacy, the pharmacist. I conduct a report on my college of pharmacy, what we call the retail pharmacist, the one that is in office, like CVS in the United States, who acts as a middle between the physician and patient. As a job, it will disappear in the next coming 5 years in the United States. Why? Because the physician will prescribe molecules that will send directly to a remote platform that do additive manufacturing, and they manufacture the molecule and the drug, and Amazon will come and ship the drug directly to your house. So the middle between the patient, it will not exist. So this is why we are, as a provost, I am trying to reshape our pharmaceutical program, okay, to develop what we call the next generation of pharmacists that's basically trained for big pharma. They are trained to design drug. They are trained to formulate the drug. They are basically trained in clinical research, in clinical trials. So this is the next generation of pharmacists also. So the landscape of academic of health is changing. And this is basically what I would like to share with you today with a variety of examples. That's how research innovation drive the academic landscape, okay? Because the system is changing. I think everyone heard about AI impact. Last year, 30,000 jobs from Amazon, they laid off more than 30,000 employees. The outlook in the United States from now to 2035, the outlook, they expect 100 million people, they will be laid off due to artificial intelligence. 100 million. Okay? Because artificial intelligence today is here and it is everywhere in medicine, pharmaceutical, of course, manufacturing, automation. It starts with robotic a long time ago, but now it's with AI. I give you another example. We have one of the best college of business, which is in Brooklyn, very close to the financial city. And today, all the accounting, the MBA will disappear. Okay, I give you another example. All financial cities like Citibank, they fire 10 people. They do programming, computer science, and they hire only one who has the capacity to conduct what we call prompt engineering to use ChatGPT. Okay, and he can do the job of 10 people, 20 people, 30 people. So there is a very, very high threat on education and everywhere in many universities with no exception, including medicine, pharmaceutical, engineering, business, health professions, nursing. They are reshaping their model of education worldwide. So now I will just wear my hat of administrator of a university just to give you a flavor. So this is a nice picture from my office. We are very close to Brooklyn Bridge. It's very appealing to students. We receive many students worldwide. And we have two campuses. We have one campus in New York City. So just to give you some heads up, we have about 25,000 students, but mostly in pharmaceuticals, health profession, nursing, and veterinary medicine, and pre-medical school. So we have what we call a dual campus. We have a campus in New York City with built over 7 hectares. It's large for a city center. And we have one in Long Island, and Long Island is the island that is connected to New York This is why we have a name of Long Island University. Long Island is the island connected to New York, and we have one of the largest campus in the state of New York that is built over 400 hectares. We have more than 400 accredited programs. Today, we are in the top 7% research institution in the United States. As I mentioned, we have the oldest and the largest college of pharmacy nationwide. We have many FDA, we have the FDA register and GMP, good manufacturing practices, facility for drug development and manufacturing. And by the way, thanks to this infrastructure, this is how I met Dr. Nabil via KZEL company, because we are hosting KZEL in our campus, because we have an accelerator for startup companies. And this is thanks to this connection. I am here today giving this presentation. So our budget is about $2 billion, operation budget of the university. And now we went over $100 million research expenditure. So this is basically the university at a glance, what I would like to say. So now let me move to research. And now I will just focus on research, and I will, how to say, wear my science hat. I will do my best to explain. You know, I don't know everything, but I will try to summarize all what we are conducting research-wise, because it's very, very complex research. It's multidisciplinary research. It's covered all kind of discipline with no exception, spanning biology, chemistry, medicine, data analytics, pharmaceuticals, clinical trials, manufacturing, you know, all in the same location and the same ecosystem in the heart of New York. Okay, so let me. This is just for to do some slightly, I would say, geography. This is the New York City. So we have two campuses. This is Long Island. We have also nice beaches, by the way, like in Spain, okay? So we can swim, we can, you know, I don't know if you heard about the Hamptons and all, but it's, you know, it's crazy expensive, you know? And so this is our campus in Long Island. It's close to the ocean, very nice, beautiful location. And we have here the campus in New York City, the one that I just highlight, you know, with these beautiful pictures of Brooklyn Bridge, okay? So this one, so it's very close to this location. And now let me just highlight the research. So the research, it was basically, as I mentioned, I am nuclear engineer, nuclear medicine. Yeah, so I'm a nuclear engineer and nuclear medicine by training. I spent almost 20 years at Georgia Institute of Technology in Atlanta. And then I spent my research, you will see, in a very close collaboration with DASO. I will explain what does mean DASO. And then when I moved to Long Island University early 2019, you know, DASO, they follow me somehow. And we basically built and found a Center of Excellence in Life Sciences that was co-founded by Long Island University. DASO, DS, it means DASO. Just be familiar with DS, is DASO system. So BCM is also Baylor College of Medicine, is one of the largest hospital system in the world. The headquarters is in Houston, Texas. It's very prestigious. I think it's the top 5 medical school in the United States. Keep it in mind, Baylor College of Medicine. And in that way, in that time, the main strategic partnership, it was with the FDA, with the regulatory body, you know, with the regulations. And we were able to follow or to build a research strategic plan to conduct what we call in silico clinical trial. Keep this in mind. What does mean in silico? This is our dashboard, is what we call in silico clinical trial. What does this mean? Is today is basically to use virtual human or to use a kind of digital, I'm losing my, so basically the main strategy for this one is just I'm trying to explain what is in silico clinical trial. Is a very technical term. It's basically to conduct clinical trials using a virtual human or a cohort of virtual human. I will replicate my body. Okay, that is a dream, you know, this is the future. But now it's becoming a reality. I replicate my body, and instead of using animal model and mice model, which end up with a lot of uncertainties when it comes to drug development, I will give you one example. If I am able to replicate my body, what does mean replicate my body? It means I will take into consideration all the physiology of my body, organ by organ, and then I can test the drugs on my virtual body, okay? Such that when I go to clinical trials, I will reduce the failure. As you may, just to share with you some numbers, today, the success rate of drugs in clinical trials is less than 10%. It means that 90% of drugs fail in clinical trials, 90%. And one single drug, it takes 12 to 16 years to be developed. And the cost for one compound is about between $1 to $2 billion. So imagine the waste. Why? Because we rely on the animal model. And the physiology of the mice is not the physiology of the human body. It's impossible. We can have in vivo, in vitro evidences. We can have the mice model, but it doesn't describe our reality or the human reality. Okay, so this is, you know, I'm trying to spend some time on this slide just to explain this concept of in silico. So this Center of Excellence, it was co-founded directly by the FDA. You know, the regulatory, it was a demand coming from the FDA as a regulatory body for drugs, and they are putting high expectation on in silico to make sure that they are able to engage patients. Because one of the difficulties today in clinical trials is to be able to engage patients, but also to ensure patient diversity. Okay, so that is one, and this is why it's very costly. So that is our kickoff. It was in 2020, the official kickoff with the FDA director. And this is, I would like just to share with you this quote from the FDA director, Jeff Shuren. So you can read what he put there. He was a visionary guy in that time, and he's the one who drive this vision toward in silico clinical trial. He said clearly, you know, the way that we are conducting clinical trials and research for drugs development for all the disease is not working anymore. And we need to come up with something which is a new paradigm for drug development. So that was our roadmap that was set in early 2020. We had the kickoff in 2022. And what I will share with you today is basically all the breakthrough that we made since this kickoff meeting. Okay? So this is, I would like just to highlight what is Dassault. It's a French company, it's a European company. I don't know, I know that they have a lot of collaboration in Spain. So it's about 20,000 employees, revenues above $40 billion. And they have two major, you know Dassault with Rafale fighter. So this is for engineering, you guys, you are very familiar with this. So it's an engineering company, okay? But what we don't know today, that Dassault are making more than $20 billion revenues in drug development. And this is the beauty, because they start with engineering, they design the Rafale, they design and they manufacture the Falcon business jet, and basically they go all the way from engineering to drugs. And basically you will see in my analysis how they bridge engineering to drug development, because today the foundation of drug development are basically driven by engineering. Okay, that's the beauty. So this is This is today the two brand of Biovia. So Biovia is a subsidiary of Dassault. They make more than $9 billion revenues in drug development, drug formulation. This is the flagship of drug formulation, very well known. And this one is basically conducts what we call molecular docking, the pharmacokinetics. They have the largest database. You know, it's basically the, how to say, is the Rolls Royce, I would say, of drug development. So Biovia. The other brand is called Medidata. This is very, very important. What is Medidata? Medidata is a company from New York. They become very known during the pandemic, during the COVID. So during the pandemic, you know, we had, if you guys remember, we had Pfizer vaccines and we have the Moderna vaccines, two vaccines, and they put them on fast track clinical trial. And remember, when they announced the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines, they conduct clinical trial in less than 6 months. And the vaccine was in the market after 6 months. It was crazy. Okay, so they put it in fast track with the FDA. And Medidata conducts all clinical trials. So then Dassault did in that time an IPO, and they acquire Medidata, and they pay for $10 billion for Medidata acquisition. Okay, and the policy of Dassault, all the way from engineering, aerospace, now in the medical, pharmaceutical, for pharmaceutical, they want to cover the wide spectrum, all the way from drug formulation to clinical trials. Okay, and this is why they did the two brand of Dassault, they did as, you know, as a center of excellence. And we have a research roadmap to go all the way to what we call in silico clinical trial. Okay, so this narrative background is very, very important to highlight what is Biovia and what is Medidata, and basically give you one example of Kizel or our collaboration with Dr. Nabil is to leverage this platform for oncology, for drug development, for, you know, I met faculty here working on infectious disease. We are working on infectious disease, and Biovia is a game changer, you know, to accelerate the drug discovery for these molecules and disease, okay? So so this is just about our 68 hospitals that they are basically in our network, and they would like the hospital of CV be part of this network. If you see this mapping, we are very, very lucky. You will see why we are unique, because we put a team, a multidisciplinary team, and clinicians, physicians working all together and in a very synergetic way to make an impact. Because without clinicians and physicians, we cannot connect with engineering. It's impossible. Okay, so this is basically our main strength, is our capacity building to work with medical doctors, with clinicians, physicians worldwide. Okay, so we operate with, as I mentioned, with a board. We have a board of advisory board. You can see. I will let you basically see the you know, how it's composed. You have one of the best cardiovascular surgeons. He's the chief surgeon officer of the entire state of New York, Todd Rosenberg. We have Sharmila. She is the chief officer of the largest hospital in the Baylor, and she is a gastroendocrinologist. We have John Moore, who is the chief hepatologist. He's a hepatologist. He's also part of our board of trustees, and you name them. You know, it's and then we have the last pictures on the right is my very close friend Ignacio Ligones. He's from Argentina, but he has an affiliation to our center. He's one of the top 5 cardiovascular surgeon, and he has basically more than 20 surgeries under his name. Okay, so I think, you know, what is the main advantage of Ignacio Ligones' team? He speaks Spanish. He's from Argentina, so he can join us here to Sevilla to give some conferences, because he's the top surgeon in the world, you know, it just can be very, very good added value to what you guys are doing to here in Sevilla. And he has a team of 20 people, all of them cardiologists and cardiovascular surgeons. So this is just to a possibility of that I would like to emphasize here, that make a straight connection with your university. Okay, so this is, let me just highlight very quickly. Now I will deep dive in science. So what is our drivers? As I mentioned here, you can see here, this is one of the major problem in pharmaceuticals. Of course, pharmaceuticals is connected. You cannot dissociate pharmacology, pharmaceuticals, I would say, from medicine. They go together, okay? A medical doctor, as a clinician, the beauty, he should work hand in hand with the pharmacist during the drug cycle development. If they are basically not connected, so then it's going to be a problem, okay? So if you see this cycle, it takes, if I can conclude this very long pathway, this is basically our dashboard. This is our motivation, which basically I will summarize in this slide. You see here, this is what I say in my first slides, is basically it takes between 12 to 16 years to develop a drug. It costs $1 to $2 billion, but the problem is 90% failure. 90%, you don't pass, 90%, okay? So why? This is a big problem in big pharma today, and this is our main motivation that basically drives our research. And also, if you look to this example down, there is a lack of efficacy. The efficacy is between 40 to 50%. This is huge, okay? It means that many drugs has 60% are non-effective or efficient. This is what that means. Of course, as you may know, every single drugs, and especially when it comes to oncology, they have a severe toxicity, okay? Sometimes people, they receive a chemotherapy and they die not because of the cancer. They die because of the chemotherapy and all the toxicity behind the chemotherapy, okay? So this is a kind of modestly, this is what we are trying to address in our research, how we can come up with something that is more efficient than what you see in this picture. So this is basically our research program is to develop predictive multimodality of drug toxicity, improve efficacy of existing drugs, design multi-targeted therapy in cancer, and this is basically what we are exploring with Dr. Nabil team and the team in New York, and basically I would like to, because you guys hear human digital twin, what he is saying, what does this mean, okay? So I would like to highlight this with showcases, you know, just to explain what is a digital twin. How can I replicate your body? And they can conduct tests on your body without touching your body, okay? This is a magic, this is a future, but it's not a magic anymore, because now it can be translated to realities, and this is why I put the Holy Grail, because, and I will showcase examples in oncology and heart disease, okay? So so this is something I would like, before to deep dive, keep in mind today, 40% withdrawal of drugs. What does mean withdraw? It means that you spend $1 billion or $2 billion, you reach phase 1, phase 2 clinical trials, and then you have major toxicity, and then the drug is withdrawn, okay? Or sometimes you even reach phase 4. Phase 4, it means you have 500,000 patients. The drug is in the market, but it starts to be used by 500,000 or million patients. And with this patient diversity, then you find out that the drug has toxicity. And then the drug, it's withdrawn from the market. So during the last 10 years, 900 drugs was withdrawn from the market because of two major toxicities. One is the cardiotoxicity and hepatotoxicity. Okay, like I give you one example, the acetaminophen, like APAP. I don't know how to say that in Spanish. It is equivalent to paracetamol and so on, correct? It has very severe hepatotoxicity. Okay, so imagine all these oncology drugs, how, and this is the picture that I am sharing with you. This is a very severe fibrosis of a patient who received an oncology drug. Okay, and he has a fibrosis like a patient who was alcoholic for 20 years. Is equivalent to the same profile of someone who is alcoholic or who has what we call a fatty liver. This guy, he is healthy, he never drank in his life, but it was a consequence of a drug toxicity. Okay, so this is one of the major problems that, so let me now, just to go through, I will skip this. This is our strategic plan of the 2025-23, because we work with a strategic plan. So we have a 5-year strategic plan. We just had our board of trustee meeting, you know, to consolidate our strategic plan in the next 5 years. And you see the strategic plan is to build what we call the biodome, you know, the dome. That is the full digital twin of the human body. And this is why our collaboration with the University of CV came up at the right time, because you can be plugged in to this strategy, you know, how we can, and especially when it comes to oncology. So it's, this is our, and basically to revolutionize drug discovery, it's very, very important. And also we are aligned with the government and new administration strategy that basically lies in what we call reshoring biopharma manufacturing to United States. So our Center of Excellence is part of this initiative, you know, of all this geopolitics stuff and so on. So this is one of the major emphasis of our Center of Research. And so let me explain something which is very important before I go to the showcase. So you heard the digital twin, and now I say I will basically address to the Dean of Engineering, okay? And it will speak to you directly, okay? Because I need to make a correlation between the digital twin, because the digital twin exists since the 80s, 1980s, 90s, and then it was ramped up in 2000, 2010, and so on, okay? So the digital twin, it was pioneering in automotive engineering and aerospace engineering. I was a part of one program, if you can see in the left, I was part of this program, which is the Boeing 77. So we basically developed a whole digital twin of the Boeing. 6,000 pieces that was replicated in a digital twin, and we designed the entire airplane, even the seat, hydraulic system, composite materials, the entire airplane before manufacturing, 100%. Okay, the entire plane. And the entire protocol was approved by the Federal Aviation Agency. So today, when you go to make an airplane flying, like the new Dreamliner or Airbus 350, if you don't have the digital twin and the whole package, you cannot fly. Okay? This is very important to understand this, to make a correlation with the human body. Okay? And this is why Boeing and Airbus, you know what is their success rate to make it happen? What is the success rate? Is to pass the FAA, Federal Aviation Agency. What is the equivalence of FAA in drug? Is the FDA. Okay? But with the FDA, we pass 10%. We have 90% failure. But when it comes to airplane, we have 100% success. Okay? Let me give you another example, which is this one. The crash test. Okay? So I was involved with BMW. This is how I started my career with Dassault. And Dassault, just for all the cars, cars company, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, everyone, they use our modality for crash tests. So 100% of cars are successful in crash tests because of the digital twin of the car. They don't have 80% success rate. They have 100% success rate, okay? That is our, and this is why Dassault, they move from engineering, aerospace, automotive to medicine. And I will show you this transition, okay? With the two show cases. So this is the, Dassault, they are making $9 billion in this crash test. $9 billion revenues worldwide just to develop the digital twin of the car. And the car manufacturers, they use it. And the car manufacturers, they save million or billion of dollars, okay? So let me illustrate this in this one. I will stop this one because it's very complicated. We don't have time. I will skip it. Look to this one. If you can follow this with me, please. You see here, if you look at, I don't have a pointer, as I mentioned, 100% success rate in automotive and aerospace. For pharma, we are in 10%. And you can see the cost increase from 1944 to 2024. So you have below, you have comparison between cars, aerospace. You see the cost didn't change much. It's steady, the cost of cars, of your car. If you look at to the evolution of drugs, is 150 times increase over time. 150. Why? Because you have this failure, which is 90% failure, okay? So if you look at to here, this is a very important statement. Today, if we didn't develop the digital twin of a car, your car will cost $1.5 million. 1.5 million data. If we didn't develop the digital twin of the car, it will cost so you cannot afford to buy your car, by the way, okay? Especially this beautiful car with, with the very smooth, in early 70s, 80s, the cars, they work like a box, okay? Like a kitchen. Now we have a very smooth, because thanks to the digital twin, okay? So I am trying to make this correlation between pharma, aerospace, and cars. And this is what is very important. If you look at to this is all what we call the government tailwind. Government tailwinds is very important because if you don't get support from government regulation, you cannot conduct your research. So why I am doing the digital twin, spending $1 million in a digital twin of the heart, to develop the digital twin of the liver, of the esophagus, and you name them, of the gut, as I mentioned, of the brain, because there is a support from government. And this is for Kizel as an example, what I am sharing here. So in September 2024, it's just early last year, and the one is from NIH, National Institute of Health. This is the big $1 billion machines, government machine, that's govern research and development and regulatory in the United States and even worldwide. They made a statement. I will read this publication. If you don't have digital twin and in silico data, and if you show up to the FDA with just animal in vivo, in vitro, you are not eligible to conduct trial. If you don't have evidences coming from the digital twin of the organs, from the physiology, you are not eligible. You cannot do it. And this is the policy that was published jointly by the FDA and NIH, okay? So this gave us the landscape to develop our research. And so let me now move to give you our story. So this is a beautiful story that I would like just to slow down a little and manage my energy for this presentation. So I still have 15 minutes or yes? Yeah. So I would like to, and this is for medical school, is very, very important, and for the Dean of Medicine. I don't know if you are familiar with the William Halsted concept, which is the foundation of medicine. We see see one, do one, teach one. Okay, so this is medicine. Learning with what we call a tree is all the tier. Okay, so observation. I pick up this, this picture from early 1890. And now the new model is, what if each case is unique? So your model see one, do one, teach one is not working anymore. And if we try surgery before the first cut, okay, to do a surgery or to conduct a surgery, as an example, in a virtual patient with your digital twin. If I am doing an hepatotectomy to cut the liver, we cannot cut the liver, like this, because every liver depends on the patient's, the way to cut the liver. So it changed from patient to patient. I will, if I have time, I will share with you an example of the hepatotectomy, how we cut the liver. And also we designed a tool that will cut the liver so you can avoid any problems. Okay, so this project starts with my friend Steve Levine back in 2014. So Steve Levine is the chief scientist at Dassault. In that time, we were as engineer. Both of us are as engineer, and we were at Georgia Tech. We worked together now for almost 20 years, and now he's one of the amazing scientists. I will show, his picture. It was in our board of trustees. So we initiate this concept of a human digital twin back in 2014, and the motivation. Follow me. This is very important. This is his daughter. Okay, in that time she was 13, 14 years old, and she experienced 12. She was born with a heart disease, dysfunction for the left ventricle, and they conduct 12 surgeries, series of surgeries, and none of them was working because the heart, the left and the right, it was pumping 50%, and one it's not working at all. So they gave her basically 5 years to live in that time. So that was our first case. This is how we trigger. We came from engineering airplane Boeing 77, and we designed the Boeing for the first heart in that time. And basically, we identify and we engineer the surgery. I will show you the case, We engineer the surgery. The way we engineer the surgery, we came up with a protocol to the surgeon. So he followed our protocol. And I remember the surgeon, it was astonishing to him. I said, why I didn't think about this? Well, no, this is impossible. You want me to cut here, to connect here? Yeah, but how about the aorta? What about all this heart physiology? So we make him confident in that time with all the data that duplicates the heart physiology from engineering perspective. So he did an echography and MRI scan. We replicate her heart. In 2014, we didn't have a lot of modalities. You will see now it's changing drastically. And then he saved her life. The surgery was successful. And now she is a medical doctor in the Baylor College of Medicine in Texas. Okay, so that is, it's always emotional to highlight this success story. And by the end of my presentation, I will also share with you 100 of them, not only one, if I have time. I don't think so I will have time to cover all my slides that I have here. I will come back next time and I can highlight the liver, I can highlight the tumor. So let me now, so you can, just to showcase the beauty and the social impact, I would say, of the digital twin or the digital replica of the heart, okay? So this is how, so this is our pipeline. We started in 2014. We launched the Live Heart. This is key milestones. Very, very important to follow this with me. You can get your attention for a few seconds. So 2014, we launched the heart. And the showcase, it was Steve Levine's daughter. So then in 2019, when I Long Island University, we got the first platform for drug toxicity, heart arrhythmia, with respect to the drugs. This is amazing. We are using the ion channels, all the way to, and taking into consideration the heart tissue, we were able to predict the drug cardiotoxicity, and we can change the drug compound function. And this part, it was approved by the FDA, okay? This is another key milestone. The other key milestones, we got one of the first mitral valve, which is a medical device, is a mitral valve, okay, with one of the biggest medical company, Abbott, I think, is Abbott. And they follow our in silico clinical trial, and we were able to build a cohort of synthetic patients of 100,000 people. But all of them, but they duplicate the reality. In clinical trial, you cannot, phase 1, you have what, 20 patients? Phase 2, maybe 35, because it's very expensive. Okay, here, imagine that I can provide you 100,000, 1 million. There is no limit, and you can conduct your clinical trial. So this modality for mitral valve, I will show you the case. It was approved, endorsed jointly by the FDA. And this is our key, unique worldwide. It never happened nowhere. The first time that FDA approved in silico virtual to heart to test mechanical valve as medical device. Okay? So the other key milestone that if I have time, I don't think so I will have time today, but highlight. So we developed one unique platform for the liver and for all the liver toxicity. Okay, this is an all hepatotoxicity and hepatotoctomy. We developed the digital twin of the brain for all Alzheimer's disease, and now with Dr. Nabil, we are working on glioma, glioblastoma, and you can rely on the same platform for oncology. And you see this little line. We developed the digital twin of esophagus for all colorectal cancer. And it was really impactful, okay? And now, 2024, we launched in coordination with Dr. Nabil, basically to dissect the tumor and come up with what we call multi-target therapy, because in our case, we believe molecules already exist. We have a bunch of molecules. If we are able to optimize the combination of these therapies, we can do something amazing in that way, okay? Let's highlight the showcases. I will not have time because, just for 5 minutes, we were able to develop 4 platforms, the cardiotoxicity platform, we have the hepatotoxicity, we have the platform for molecular docking and drug screening of drugs. And by the way, we are working with Dr. Nabil to develop. Yeah. So I'm sorry. And so let me move to I will build this. So let me start with so this is all the platform. This is also a way of collaboration with the University of CV. I met, faculty on infectious disease. We have Dr. Nabil in oncology. So you have access to these platforms. They worked hundreds of million dollars platforms, access. Because this is a game changer for precise surgery, for personalized medicine, but also for any drug development. And we call them the biodome. This is the biodome, okay? So this is very, very important to see all the details. We have 2, but they are all connected. This is the beauty, because we have the platform for drug discovery. We have the platform that have the digital twin of the human body. And also we have one amazing laboratory with more than $20 million equipment that's basically that do what we call organoid or organelle on chips. So you get human cells put on chips and you can test the drugs. Okay, so this is of in vivo human test. Okay, so this is all. You guys have access to it, and basically, again, I would like to highlight the experience of Kizel as a Spanish company that is basically embedded now in our platform, and they have access to all of this. Okay, and we have other biotech company via the accelerator agreement with us, because it can be open to many companies. You know, it's an amazing platform. It took us many years, and again, it has a value that's above $500 million worth of value. Okay, so let me I will skip this because I don't have, it's just to give you and highlight how we conduct molecular docking, and you know, it's amazing, fully into one's non-limit. Of course, it has a large component of you know, molecular docking, toxicity predictions, you know, pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics prediction, fully integrated, you know, million or billion compound as a database. So it's just amazing. So our projects, you know, we are working on infectious disease, epilepsy, autism, cancer is our flagship, especially the breast cancer. We are working on alcoholic use disorder. This is a public health problem in the United States. And we are working on infectious disease, and especially the bird flu viruses. You know, last year we didn't have chicken eggs in the grocery store because of this big flu. So we were able to design the first effective, efficient vaccine following the pathway of what we call One Health. COVID was a problem of One Health because the virus was transferred from animal to the human. So our Center of Excellence is placing major emphasis on one University of CV. You have such kind of expertise because also you can take benefits of our College of Veterinary Medicine, you know, which is one of the best in the United States. So let me now move to the next. So just for if there are any oncologist people in this room, one of our success story, now I is the success story. One of them is, everyone is familiar with cisplatin. It's the oldest molecule in the world in chemotherapy. It has 40 years existence. And you know this molecule and the lack of efficiency. So we were able to combine cisplatin with a natural product, which is eugenol here. It was just amazing. Every machine for us, the way we discovered these new molecules, which is a combination with cisplatin and eugenol. Eugenol is approved by the FDA, okay? And as a result, we come up with a new molecule that we name CPA. And you can see here, I will let you just read this result. So we cover a wide spectrum of cell lines spanning breast cancer. So the first row is the new molecules. You see how the volume of the cancer cell reduces substantially for all. And if you look at cisplatin, it's almost no change. You know, it's very steady. So it means that cisplatin is not efficient, but even the comparison, we were able to divide the dose by 50%. And we come up with a non-toxic molecule. That is a breakthrough, okay? So let me just show you this is for stem cells. This is for you, Dr. Nabil. Even for stem cells, breast cancer, triple negative, the new molecule was very, very effective. It's just the way you combine between cisplatin as chemical carrier and eugenol, which is a natural product. This is a game changer. So this is the animal model I would like you to see. So we inject a tumor, triple negative tumor, and basically disappear after 4 weeks. You see, 4 weeks we got the tumor totally disappear with half dosage in comparison to cisplatin. Cisplatin should have any effect on that, okay? So let me finish with this. So this is something that is amazing, you know, I would say. You know, I was very proud to be part or to play a very tiny, you know, role in this international team. And I will finish with this, what we call the biodome for pre-surgery, and how this saves lives, because it saves thousands and thousands of lives, especially when it comes to pediatric surgeries. Basically, kids they was born with very severe heart disease, and we were able to save many lives. And again, to emphasize, that is the results of a very good synergy between medical doctors, surgeon, engineer, chemist, biologist. Because without this fusion, what we call the fusion, we were not able to achieve what you see here. So let me highlight. So this is the heart. I will basically share with you the concept, how it works, and also it's set in a hospital. Okay, you can imagine the hospital of many hospitals in CV can deploy this very easy. We can train them. They can have the platform, and they can conduct. I don't know if there are any heart surgeon in the stage, so you will see how it works basically. So let me explain, because it's a multidisciplinary science because to develop a physiology of the heart is very complex. You have to go all the way from the cells, from the genes to the cells, from the genes to the drug, to the cells, to the biochemical pathway, to the tissue, to the heart. And from one single heart, do what we call a cohort of patients. And if you are willing to conduct a cohort of patients, it means you can conduct clinical trials. And non-trials, because you can get 1 million data of patients as much as needed, okay? So this is a beautiful science. This is why it took us 15 years to develop, because it was a long pathway. Again, is a combination of a variety of science and effort. We need the best biologists, we need the best cardiologists, we need the best and we need also the best radiologists, because the trigger is an MRI, a CT scan, and so on. Okay, so let me focus on this one. So this is basically how it works in a clinical setup. All on the left, I don't know, is there any, can I use a pointer? There is no pointer, no? It's fine, it's okay. Just please, if you can follow with me on the left, we start at day one. You can imagine a patient who stopped by, and he will have an echography or an MRI or a CT scan, anyone, okay? And then we introduce this MRI scan in our platform, what we call the biodome platform of the heart, okay? This is the input, okay? And by the end of the cycle, this is the first 3D replica of a patient heart. So it's basically have all the details, physiological details of the patient, with all the details. It's like a bionic heart, and you can conduct your surgery on this bionic heart. You can do your surgery. What you need an MRI or an echography, a chest of the patient, and you get the 3D of the patient. And you can do what you want with this, okay? Non-limit. So then what we do, this is beautiful. You see this? The first developed this, it was a magic, because here you can see how we can mimic the electrical field of the heart. Because what makes heart basically pipe or beats or pipe the blood is an electrical. Yeah, thank you. So what you can see here, to duplicate in a very details how the electrical field in the heart across all the tissues will base the heart beating, okay? And there is no MRI or CT scan that's enable you to get all these kind of details, okay? That is the magic field you can develop what we call a heart biomarker. Just with this and MRI scan, you can detect any dysfunction related to the heart, any surgery. So it's one of the amazing diagnosis tool to assist, to support a cardiologist. Okay, so this is a result of an MRI. So let me now, this is what we do. This is what you see here. This is a dashboard of hospital setup. So here you have a surgeon. He pick up the MRI scan of the patient. He put it on a dashboard, and he conduct his surgery. He do all kinds of surgery. He can do stance surgery, all the way from stance to aorta valve, mitral valve, Fontan surgery. I don't know if there is any cardiosurgeon. Surgery. Fontan surgery is someone who born with the left ventricle, only one ventricle. So we use this because with very complex surgery, the way we cut the surgery basically that connects the heart directly to the lung, which is very complex surgery. So this is the modality that you see here in this whiteboard, is the dashboard of the surgeon to conduct all kind of surgery, before to do the surgery. If you ask me what he needs for that, he needs an MRI scan of the patient. That's it. Nothing beyond that. Okay. So this is our, as I mentioned in my introduction, that is what the first key milestone that we achieved with the FDA, with the Abbott industry, when we were able to conduct clinical trials on 100,000 patients with a variety of gender, origin, and what you can imagine for a new mitral valve. Okay? And it was 100% approved by the FDA. That was one of the key milestones that we achieved. It means because they get very precise data. Okay? That's none of in vitro or all conventional clinical trial able to get. This is very, very important. Okay? So now this is how we do it. You see here, this is a surgery room that we have in one hospital, and this is the way that we conduct the surgery. This is one for the Fontan surgery that to connect to the lung, so we can feed the heart with oxygen from the lung. So today, just if I highlight the case of Boston Hospital, we have more than 2,000 surgeries that was conducted based on our platform. Okay, so now it's not any more a dream. It's embedded in, and we can see also hospitals in Spain how we can duplicate this kind of experience for heart surgeries. Okay, the smallest surgery that we did and we designed, it was for a baby that weighs basically 500 grams. It was like my hand. Okay, it's an early bird, 6 months or 7 months, and with a very severe heart dysfunction, and they were able to save him. Now he's 12 years old almost. Okay, so this is basically, just to give you an example. So I will finish with this. This is what I highlight in my. This is a new modality that we are developing in pediatric surgery. If you look at this echography here, you see that the aorta, it doesn't close. So here, so this is a pediatric patient. So you see, we designed the entire, we do what we call segmentations aorta, and we design the leaflet. It's like paper. And basically, we designed the stitches, even how to stitch the aorta, the leaflet inside the aorta. So it's here. And you see here, we designed a variety of aorta because, you have 10 millimeters and all the way to 17 millimeters. Why because each diameter corresponds to the age of a patient. Because an early bird patient, they don't have a specific to fit the aorta. Okay, so we develop what we call an oversized aorta. So basically, the patient can grow with this leaflet. So this is what we did. I will skip this. So this is our design. You see how it's working. This is how aorta works. You see, it works like what we call a Mercedes shape, and it has a Mercedes shape. Our leaflet has a Mercedes shape, and then this is a real surgery. You can see here. This is our surgeon, Ignacio Legones. He's doing the surgery here. I think this one, it was a patient 5 years old or 6 years old, and he following the entire pathway. Okay, and then, so this is free, and we were able to conduct on 110 patients until today. We started in 2022. So the median age of this patient is about 7 years. The median weight is 19 kilograms. Okay, so all of these surgeries were very successful. Okay, so this is after the surgery, we conduct what we call 4D flow MRI. This is a magic. You see how the valve open very smoothly and a very dynamic way. So this is one amazing, story that we had in this very complex, I would say, surgery. And this is all the patients. This is Ignacio Legones and all the patients that we recently, that was last year. No, it's early in October, jointly with Long Island. This is Ignacio Legones. And we did a kind of humanitarian mission in Bolivia. So, Bolivia is 4,000 meters over the sea. You cannot breathe oxygen, And he did jointly, we designed a surgery, traveled to Bolivia, and he traveled worldwide, and he's doing a lot of humanitarian. And this is why I would like, with the dean, to invite him to come. And he speaks Spanish. It's not like me. So it's an amazing individual. He's a beautiful mind individual. He can come to visit and train the surgeon here. He can share his new surgery with the surgeon, trying to stimulate some thoughts and explore ways of collaboration between us. That's going to be straightforward with the College of Medicine, University of CV. So this is she was dying because, she was almost dying because they contact us last minute, the situation it was, and this is the day she left the hospital. And she followed exactly our modalities, our surgery modalities. And in many surgeons in Latvia, they said, no way we can save her. Okay, so that is it's very emotional for us, and this is basically what motivates and make us happy by the end of the day. So now I will just finish my talk with something which is very, very important to big pharma, how to predict the cardiotoxicity. I will showcase this. You see, today the platform can go all the way. The showcase I would like to share with you is for dophytilide, which is a molecule here that has a very severe toxicity at high pressure compound, but it has a huge heart arrhythmia. And today we were able to predict all the toxicity for a variety of drugs. And we can also predict, I can just take an MRI scan and I can get you your AKG. I don't need to touch your body because AKG, you need to have 8 leads on the body. Today, I can just follow, in my presentation, I can get your AKG just from your MRI scan. And I will make lots of decisions, okay? So this is a new way to conduct so this is a magic, if you can see with me this. So this is the heart arrhythmia with the drug dosage, so no drug, 5 times, 8 times. So I will repeat it again, okay? You see the heart arrhythmia here, and it's predicted exactly. When you see the red can be severe, so you can come up with the predicts the drug toxicity in advance, okay? So I will finish with this. This is for education. This is my last slide. I have others if you have questions. You know, surgery room, that this is basically the setup of a surgeon. He can wear a headset, augmented reality, and he can conduct his surgery. You see any kind of stance. So here, this is for stance or multiple stance. He can measure the physiology. He can measure the flow. And this one also for the dean is very, very important for education, for training for students. This is one of the platforms that you use in our medical school to train students and in a very, thorough pedagogy in an immersive way. And we have one platform. You can see the platform down here. This is in the physician office. You see here, the physician office. You can have a patient who show up in his office, so the surgeon can explain with a good pedagogy the surgery to the patient, so he can understand the expectation, and it's a good modalities in the office to explain the surgery in a very detailed way, okay? So I will stop with this. I'm so sorry because there are a lot of things to say, and I am here, to answer to your question. Thank you.
Perhaps we should move on to the next speaker, and then we do a question,
Yes.
a Q&A
Yes.
at the end.
Yes.
Yes. So the floor now is for Dr. Seyihe, Executive Director of the Intelligent Agent Institute in London.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Désolé, j'avais beaucoup de choses. J'ai pas pu aller les autres. Next time.
Hello, everyone, and it's the honor to be here. This is my first time to be Savien, and I'm talking about, although I share the kind of interesting with Mohammed, but I'm talking about from totally another angle. I'm a professor in the university as well, but not today I'm talking about from the blueprint to IPO, which is a totally different angles to say how the research result actually can impact the society. I will go through with my background, but before that, actually, the entire slides generated by AI. So I just because I didn't really have the presentation for introduce myself, I just by talking with my AI tools. So basically, this is who I am. My strategy is AI and big data, and I graduated from the UK after that. Okay, thank you. Sorry, give me 1 second. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think the best is you introduce yourself.
Of course, yes. I try to introduce myself a little bit more. So, kind of like I grew up with machine learning, deep learning things, and I also my entire career based on the data AI centers. So even my PPT presentation generated by AI. So it's kind of the full step of my career. First step is regarding to big corp. I working with Wikipedia. I'm one of the founders of Wikipedia UK office, and I worked with News Corp and British Telecom before. Then we moved to I'm an angel investor in London with the incubator over there. We were all invested about more than 20 companies in entire UK perspective. Majority from the University of Cambridge, Oxford, Imperial, and the UCL, either the professors or the professor plus students. Then third part, I'm also the faculty. I'm the PI with, as my title, with Intelligent Aging Institute. What we are really doing is looking at how the different AI technology can look after the old people. Just basically the three ways. One way is a more engineer background. We talk about the different sensors. It's a cross with Mohammed just produced, like how we can detect old people's health conditions, even without really getting in the hospital. So basically, the bedding tap and the different sensors, and also the glasses, the watches. We talk about the multiple things. It's a hundreds different sensor way we can detect the individual matters. I think that's one of interesting part. Another part, we talk about how AI can make decisions, trigger the task. We talk about with older people, different chronic disease, how we can build up the data centers between the patient's home, the hospital, the care centers, etc. How the circle systems can running by the bunch of those peoples. So in this page, if you see the picture over there, we look at 8,000 the old peoples across entire China. So that's a national research centers. I'm running as the executive director. Then I do her role is like the different hat. Today's my hat is about incubator and investor. So I'm more care about talk about how the professors, how the universities be spin out. Their idea there can be, their research result, the excellent research result can be commercialized, help more people. So this is my today's. Okay, I do have the track record on this perspective. Even currently, our VC and our incubators have overall incubated and invested over 30 different companies. I will go through some of them later with you guys. And we focus on the Europe and Asia. Total about 200 million US dollars about our investment value at this moment. So we are incubator plus the VC funds. And I'm personally interested about AI and robotics. When we talk about AI robotics, particular on the audience here, we talk about the medical device and the sensors detection and AI and robotics as well. And also, I'm interested about the sustainability materials. I go through with some materials. The company, we starting incubated them, and they starting already grows up like I think 100 million RMB, so which is I can't calculate at the moment, but that's a very good. With 3 years, the revenue is sharped up. Then we talk about biosynthesis. So this area is really about biology, chemistry, and industrialized. Last thing we talk about medical technology. With medical technology, so I'm very interested in heard the previous presentations. A lot of things I think that we can work to, because the thing is with AI technology, with such a platform like Mohammed introduced previously. So we talk about we short the research time to the clinical trial, from the clinical trial to proof, to really commercialized and the patient can receive it. So that's my interesting areas. Interesting is we talk about from my personal interest and experience. We talk about, we call that the life circle. Previously, when we talk about startup, we only talk about how we can gather this paper result to the startup. Then what? From startup, you get another challenge to facilitate. Basically, whether that's marketing facilitable. And then we get a third challenge regarding whether that's commercial profitable. Then we get challenges of whether all the people contribute on this one can exist with money. I talked with a lot of the professors. All the professors really knew how to make the publication, but only few professors really knew how to commercialize the research result. But why that's important today? Two reasons. First reason is the boundary between the research and the company is blurry, right? Because OpenAI do research as well. Google published the paper as well. Attention is all you need is one of the everyone read when people see the large language model. So we talk about what? We talk about the blur between the university research and the commercialized company. And when this blurry boundary already existed, not a company need to think about how to do the research. The researchers need to think about how to build up the company. That's the first thing. Second thing, even with a medical device, with pharmaceutical, the target drugs, there's previously we talk about 10 years. We talk about $10 billion. None of like the particular research really think about it. But nowadays, with AI help, with all this twin platform helps, the entire journey shortened. I knew lots of professionals as well. So that's the second reason. So I think all the research need to think about commercialize. So today, I'm not here to present the individual cases, but share how the structured approach it is. And building the companies from the blueprint to IPO. Blueprint is the slides I'm talking. That's what we call blueprint, is a A4 paper, and your proposal, your research. And because that's the three areas very interesting. First, we call that academia alpha. All you guys have. You have the famous publication. You have enthusiastic in the certain areas. You have a long achievement working on the similar things. We call that academia alpha. The alpha make the beta happen. So alpha is a research result. The beta is commerce. And why university love it? Because I see the future is a university-centered tech economics. Why that? Because even for all the city, Cambridge, Oxford, Cambridge is city, not university. But people only knew university, right? Like the civilian, it's a city, and it's also the university's name. So when we talk about this, we talk about from the innovation, from think out of the box, from all the youth people, all the younger talent is coming from the university campus. So I say the word in the future, we talk as a local university innovation. So that's what I'm interested in to build up with university together. The third thing we call capital readiness. Need money to do. I don't know if you're working with AI. I'm working with AI. Even my research center is working with AI. We talk about tokens we need to buy. We talk about from NVIDIA we have to buy. So all of things require money. We apply for the grant. We need to keep the talent people working with us. We all need money for that. So all the research don't need to be escaped to talking about money. So when we talk about money, we talk about the capital. But capital is not equal to money. Capital equal to two things. How the knowledge transferred to money. How to money transferred back to the knowledge. That's we talk about capital here. Why that's my experience is quite interesting, because we talk about a life circle vision of the company buildings. I discussed it today. Even with some startup years, you probably only face the first cliff and the second cliff. On the life of the entire company, they face 4 or 5 different cliffs. We call that dice. So that's why, even with the idea, even with the successful research result, 90% of the company died in these times of world economics. Why? First cliff is you have idea, you have the technical concept, and you have marketing hypothesis. Oh, people will love it. That will be useful. And you need to have the right fundraise. The right people give you the right money. I talk about two right because sometimes even you have the money. If with the wrong money, you can't come over the first cliff. And the second cliff, we talk of proof and the validation. You say your result will impact a lot of people. You say people will pay you for your useful drugs. Really? You think insurance will pay for the second round of is how we design validation pathway. When we talk about pharmaceutical companies, we will think about a multiple clinical trial center. Why is that? That reduce the risk for the clinical trial result. The clinical trial result depends on not just the drug impact. It depends on patient. Depends on how long you recruit patients. Depends on patients' geographic impact. Even depends on patients' genetic. So, as long as we can, I'm data scientist. We know how the statistic, the impact works. So, when we do that on the long multiple clinical trials, it's a proved result than the single clinical trial, right? Okay, that's the second one. Third one, we talk about the scaling up with a pharmaceutical company. Are we sell it? Are we get that to IPO it? Are we sell the big chunk of the market, big shark of the market? Or are we work at a hospital to get revenue? Different pathway will require different quantitative evidence. Even all the companies need to have about their pathway. I say lots of them died on this cliff. Then last things, we call that capital readiness. Why the capital? Lots of CEO, right? Every people can be the CEO. I found my own company. We call that a one-person company. They have their own CEO. However, how you make the money on your pocket? No, we all ask this question. Believe me, you got salary, so you all ask this question. So, with the startup, with the company, there's a multiple way to get it into your pocket. One way is IPO. Basically, you share that with the stock market. And that way is a multiple times of what you're supposed to earn. Worst way for you? Is that the lookable way? So at the incubating, we talk about something like this. So when we talk about entire circles, we talk about how we can help the professors to define. I have a research result. I have some interesting, but I don't know if I'm good on or not. Some company approached me to say, oh, your result is very interesting. I don't know if I want to working with them. I have some engineer background. I already work from the lab. I don't know whether I should fund a company to commercialize that. That's incubators help that. Every year, from the last 5 years, every year I have to look at 3,000 the business plans. We have to incubate more than 100 peoples. And we have invested every year more than roughly 5 to 10, depends on project, company. So we have an entire ideas. I'll give you some example. Now, example always better, right? So that is some companies. The first one is a biosynthesis technology. That is the company from China. It's a Chinese Academy of the Science. The professor come to me, professor who is roughly 50-ish, and he was an old friend. He come to me, oh, I got fabulous work. He spent 3 hours talk about his work and enthusiastic to say, okay, I want to found a company. Then I need to ask, do you want to sell that to someone? Do you want to generate the industry manufacturing system yourself? Or do you want to get partnered with that? I don't know. So but the professor's work is fantastic, to be honest. His work is 7 times with the current, so 7 times good with the current existed industry model. I saw the lab results already, but even with a setup company, they do need incubating. Second one is university bus work. The university bus is one of the interesting university in UK, which famous in Bath. But yeah, no, they're famous on the engineering and the maths, and the people will kill me on that one. But what they do is the professor plus module. So the professor say, okay, I'm okay with that, but I think that's a good idea. I want to full-time concubate this, but I'm love to contribute. The PhD, okay, I'm in. I'm totally in. I want to build up the company. So we saw this model. And this is the first prototype. I come to last September. I talked to Professor City around October. They discussed with the university the company spin-off on the December. The first prototype April this year, and I already secured 2 contracts for them for launch their prototype in the different sites to say whether the commercialized worked. What basically is simple. When you go Disneyland, you want something with Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse. Then you can print out. Then you go Disneyland, when you come out, you got a souvenir with a 3D tour. They do need hours to produce, but the entire produce is just behind the classes, so you can really easy to see it. And the third one we call the AI driving the design tour. Any of you guys have heard the Labubu? Okay, good. Someone. Okay, if you didn't hear about that, go back, Google yourself. That means you not spend the money and time for the fashion at this point. The Labubu is one of the famous toy in the worldwide currently. Lots of very fancy that the price is higher than their producer price. This one is the PhD student either talk about whether we can build AI drive the Labubu. Labubu is like a Mickey Mouse, but it's more personalized, more cooler. This project is talk about why the Labubu particular person so have to be enabled by the AI large language model. So that's the project we did. They all from university. They from the professors, they from professor plus student, they from the students themselves. Very interesting. And another part very interesting, this is another side. So when we talk about that one is on the startup stage, this one is more mature. The first one is AI-enabled therapy robotics. When we talk about robotics, it's not humanity robotics. This robotics with arm, robotics with eyes, robotics with location system. What they're doing quite simple. They're doing to heating for the release back pain, release the shoulder eccentrics. But they're based on the therapist. They're based on the doctor's prescription. This one is a medical device, not just robotics working on the road. The medical device. This device has distributed. This is the second large robotics on these areas so far. The last year, we talk about 2025, they already sold 6,000 majority in Asia, but Europe on the trial for the lab. So what they do is they can locate your particular areas of their body. They can use the heat, some use the different signals, basically just to release your pain. They may not used on hospital, used on the care center. So the second one is automated the charge vehicle system. If you drive the electric, you do need something like that because it's hard to find the charger station at this moment. So this one can run in themselves. They are slow running, but they can just drive themselves to the particular. Third one is Amazon top sales at the moment. AI powered knee massage device. The AI powered is personalized. What they use for? When you done some extremely heavy exercise like NBA, you have to cool down your knees, cool down your arms, the extensors. That's for the professional athletes. This one used for them. Lots of the NBA stars use this one. So that's all the company our invested go. So we knew them very well. We see them from startup one. They all revenued. So we talk about from the early stage to they normally have the $1 million per year as their annually revenue. So they're okay. That's a third part. We talk about scale up and pre-IPO. Probably not with your business, but it's a still interesting thing. A lot when I invest a company or help incubated company because that is all out of knowledge. This one we talk about is called what is? It's a chemical solution to change the old clothes to the new clothes materials. You through the old clothes to the rubbish bin every year. In general, everyone through 3 every year. If you not contribute on 3, don't worry, your wife will. So that is how the world looks like. So in Europe, have to throw about 9,000 tons old clothes rubbish every year. That's waste. And this one just extracted that use the chemical way to the new one. I'm lucky. This one now has the best technology in the worldwide already. Last year they made a very good revenue, and we talk about how they scale up in the IPO. So on the IPO part, a good relationship with London Exchange, Luxembourg Exchange for the Europe, and Hong Kong Exchange and the China Exchange for Chinese. Generally, during my personal experience, I helped look through 3 companies IPO'd already. Of course, we talk about NASDAQ as well, but it really depends on what areas you're looking at. So when we talk about incubation, we talk about smart chain ecosystem incubation. There's 2 platforms we can help with. One of them I will introduce a bit more later. Another one, you guys, we call AI chemical experimentation. So what that is basically robotics help you to do the lab work. I didn't videos today, but generally in the robotics help you to do lab work. They do the bench work, they put the cells, they look at themselves, they accelerate the speed. So when I'm thinking about university, what I would talk about university today? We talk about university, previous university, we only talk about with the publication and academic race. University might also think about social impact, think about whether we can gather in together, right? Whether we can be the innovation center, how we can be the creative centers, how we can be the global visibility. We have I come from China. I fly back from China today and from the US. So basically, that's the word already, right? So we talk about global visibility. Even your publication, you talk about the global visibility, right? We can build up a global visibility with university in the center. That's what we're talking about today. Our proposal is to build up the smart chain virtual. I'm talking with lots of universities these days. Is a university supposed to be the anchor hub to contact very, very achieved professors, very, very talented young people, and very, very creative, but really need money, so the new startup and SME together. And the virtual incubator enable to help them to see the big picture, to see how the commercialize. And we should be able to use global to help them with institute, with repeat the transition, with early stage exploration, with speed up. Consider this time, I'm talking, let me give you some interesting example. That's a thing I invested last year, we built up, and we're gonna do that more this year's. So what's this? These are some fantasy ideas from the lab, from the research, but never ever come as in the research. The first one, we call that Crowley aerial tree trimmer. So if you get a garden, I do. That's scare me every year because my garden grown too faster. I need to hire the gardener to work on that, right? The gardener is not really expensive. What is very expensive is insurance to pay the gardener to collect on the landers and trimming my tree. I should take a day off, or my partner need to take the day off just to look at it. Because 10 meters, even more, even higher. So this is machine. So the gardener, if we still have a gardener, the gardener just to use a remote control the earth to look at these things. If I can make that bigger, yeah, I can. Yeah. It's not whole picture, but eventually they got the scissors on the top just to trim. Yeah, you can trim by just a control, like the game player. Don't on the letters. Don't pay insurance. Yeah, you can do that. One from the lab idea to the papers, we create entire platform. I invested. This is a new company as well. They have 3 engineers to work 90 days with 3 months. This one landed. University lab starting use that to play games together. When you talk about what's innovation today, yeah, this paper. But when you publish the best paper, you need real world data, right? This coming from the real world data because these things you get prototype machines and you get real world data. The second one, sorry, introduce a little bit more. So that we call that intelligent orange sorting line. I up this yesterday night. Why I say the orange way I come from airport to my hotel. So you get lots of trains over here. So I think something interesting for all of you. So when we starting wrap up the orange, we talk about the different size. We talk about whether the big orange can high price, the rest sell the lower price, then need a wrap up. This is automated wrap up machine and separate that. This one take this team, 3 engineers with 60 days. They immediate in the manufacturing, launched in the industry already. So that's what I call the speed. Prototype speed is very important when we talk academic research to the real startup. So our proposal is working with University of Sevilla together to build up the virtual incubator centers, probably working with Nabia's team. And on the right side, we talk about attract three type of the all peoples together. The faculty track, we talk about research, commercialize. Second, we talk about student track. Come on, student is university best capital, but student is as well. So creative startup ventures. And the third is we call regional SME track. So we need to talk about the region with entire incubators together. On the left hand, the right hand is our incubator, and we have VC together can build up. This Chinese supply chain legend. Okay, I invested quite a lot of the medical device company. Only condition I did ask them, bring manufacturing in China and scaling up. These days is not really just one option, is probably the way you can beat your competitors. In general, will save the 60% to 90% manufacturing cost because the supply chain. And I'm a data scientist. I use a lot of the AI. I use token a lot. China has the cheapest AI token at the moment. Compared to I use Gemini, I use GPT, I use the Llama. I use them quite a lot. But I also use Qianwen. I also use, and they're cheaper. I don't take the judgment to say who is better, but they're cheaper. That's for sure because the price list over there, and the global IP structure and the global market. So them together. I be allowed to make some promotion. Last year, we have some event gathered in China. We in 2025 China. We have Xiangjiang Science Tour, which is one of the Chinese city in Changsha, which is my hometown as well. We invite 35 entrepreneurs and professors and young researchers come over. Each of them bring their idea with commerce or spin out the company's ideas. And they spend 4 days in the city. We're gonna cover dining and accommodation. And they will meet potential investor, potential collaboration. So they also can facing the supply chain and the AI economics. This year, we also do something else together with we call Youth Entrepreneur Bootcamp. So we invite for your university, we invite youth entrepreneur and even the students coming over with a very intensive bootcamp. We not talk about lectures. We talk about how you make your hands dirty. We talk about how you create the first producer within 1 week. Sorry, I think, but it's on the July this year. So if you get interesting, contact me or contact the Nabia is fine. So that's the last year. Great. The today, thanks to Nabia because I invited him last year. So that's why I'm come to here today. That's my first time to see Valiant, and I very love this city. I see lots of orange. I love orange juice anyway. And you can say this is a BASF. If you work on the chemical areas, you definitely knew that's a Germany company. This is a world top manufacturer. If I put that bigger. Zulem is a world top, the top 1 or top 2. The manufacturing company, and this one it's one of I'm my friend. Actually, Jonathan is British. Jonathan working on they build up the startup on the medical device which for the diabetes, And now he becomes a startup in China already, still with the CEO, but got the funds in China. So let me quick finish my presentation, and hopefully I'm not taking longer time. So the future is here. On the AI age, I think lots of things don't have the clear boundary as previously. The university don't have a clear boundary on the research. The individual don't have a clear boundary on one role. As I have a couple of several hats I can put on my hat to say, okay, I'm an investor, I'm the technical incubators, I'm the professors, I'm data scientist. So I have lots of different roles. So I think every of you have lots of different roles as well, different hats. Innovate beyond the boundaries. That's what we deserve to do, and let's do that together. Because I didn't really bring my business card, so I put my contact information, the working emails and personal emails on this. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Oh, sorry.
Well, thank you very much. Speakers might take a few questions. Podemos hacer un turno de preguntas, si les parece. Gracias. Cuando quieran.
Thank you very much for your excellent talks and open our minds, to new for the future or for the present, that we are living now. So I have a question for Professor Chekawi. So do we need to think about the digital twins in terms of therapeutics, or do we need to move forward and think about digital twins in terms of diagnostic? So if I have my digital twins, I don't know if it's close or future. So is the digital twins able not to predict my disease or chronic disease, and advance therapeutic approach, and not wait to the therapeutic?
Yeah.
What do you think? Or it's
no, it's in essence you cannot dissociate the diagnosis and the therapeutic. They go together. Like what we did, for example, in the liver hearts, when I shared the electrical field during the hearts, pumping, we serve as a biomarker to detect many structural disease of the heart. Okay, so it's a diagnosis, and a very, very direct diagnosis. So for me, they are intimately connected. I didn't have a chance to present the the liver, which is much more complicated than the heart, because the heart is like it has a lot of with engineering. It's more close to engineering than a sleepy organ, which is the liver. Liver, it just, but it has to do with metabolism. It's very complex one, and it's very complex. Okay, so when you can, for example, if you have the digital twin of the liver, he can, if you have the right modality of the liver to tackle the liver tissue, which is basically the essence of all disease, such as cirrhosis, that is one of the very severe, disease. So if you can predict all the profile of the liver, and then it's become a diagnosis. So what we are developing with the University of CV for the digital twin of the tumor is also a diagnosis, and also to guide the therapy, because you diagnose and you guide the therapy to be more personalized. So for me, it goes together, okay? Like the typical example that I can also share with you is the one that we discussed for infectious disease. You know, when you have a biofilms and you know the structure of biofilms, which is a combination of a variety of bacteria, you can diagnose what kind of infectious disease that you have, and then you can predict the appropriate therapy. So for me, it goes together, okay, I would say.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to first thank you very much for the inspiring and ask a question to Professor Cherkaoui. First of all, I'd like also to particularly thank you about having shared with us your success stories, which, despite the effort I made in hiding them, led me to tears a little bit because it acts like a kind of fool for us to keep going on our tedious but also exciting PhD journey for products like me. And we just entered the AI paradigm and the virtual to human twin paradigm recently. My question is very similar to what you just explained about the impossibility of dissociating the diagnostics with the therapy, sir. I'd like to ask you, given on another scale, you talked about the multi-scale characteristics of the virtual human twins, but also there's a separability in terms of the location of the part of the human we are trying to simulate with virtual human twin. So my question is, if we were to put on the multi-scale and I mean the microscopic versus macroscopic and the separability of the location inside the body, what are currently the heat map of the space of this space, the region we already explored, or you maybe already explored in Long Island? And is it because of ability and trade-offs, or is it because there's no purpose in exploring some regions? And also, I'd like to ask you a little bit further, do you think we can get to a continuous grid search of maybe exploring little separability and spatial separability, but very microscopic? Can we go continuously in both axes or even?
Are you a PhD student at? Okay, so
Yes, I am.
So thank you. And what is your major?
I'm biomedical engineer.
Biomedical, yeah. So I think you raise a very good question. You know,
Thank you.
And basically one of the major challenge in the heart, because we experienced this for the heart, because the heart, it was the first, you know, that was our flagship. This is how we learn. You know, as I mentioned, it took us 15 years to develop the heart. And one of the difficulty, as you point out, is how to tackle the multi-scale. Okay, but you have first of all, you have different scales, because you go all the way to nano, which is nano is basically at the, you know, at the genes level. You can tackle the genes mutations, for example, like what we are doing for the drug toxicity. You know, the part I forgot to mention, when you want to tackle the drug toxicity, we found out for many drugs, for the heart arrhythmia, many genes experience mutations. And these mutations basically happen at the ion channel, which is the molecular level, the ion channels. And then the ion channels are all the way connected to the cells, all the way connected to the tissue, all the way connected to the organ. Okay, I will highlight this. It's very, very important. So we have what we multi-scale, which is go up and down. You go from the nano, atomistic, molecular, all the way to the cell, all the way to organs. So you measure the scale. You have nano, -10. You have micro, -6. And you have something that you can observe, that the surgeon observed, which is the few centimeter, this. So the concept, all the concept of computational fluid dynamics, or the definition of stresses, you are biomedical, so you have a foundation of continuum mechanics. You know that the continuum mechanics law are not the same when you go down to the scale. You know, the way that you define the stress, which is the force divided by space area, it's not the same definition at the nanoscale. So this is why it took us 15 years deep dive science to make this kind of connections, okay? The time scale, this is why it's very complicated. And I totally agree with you. One of the main accelerator, I would say, is high power computing. You know, I used to, when I start my PhD in the old ancient age, I would say, you know, we used to develop we used to do what we call AB initio calculation, molecular calculation. I launched the computer, and they should wait for 3 months to get the results, just to get, and then especially when the results come up with the error, and then you have to find the error, and then wait another 3 months. Okay, so it was, now is with high power computing, the cloud computing, that was a game changer for us. And the other game changer for us, it was the cost of the data storage. Do you remember when you have your memory stick with 100 mega or 10 mega, and you buy it with 50 euros, 100? Now we can have terabyte storage, and this costs nothing. That was another game changer. But when you talk about multi-scale, keep something. It's not the metric. Nano, it's also the event that can happen at picoseconds, because you have the scale, but you have to tackle the time scale. That AB initio calculation molecular is something that's picoseconds. You know, you cannot see it. It's impossible, and you need to make a correlation. And especially when it comes to computational fluid dynamics for the blood, if you are not able to put the right equations, constitutive equation, at the right scale, then you cannot predict. It's impossible. So this is for the heart. It was a big problem. Then the liver, it's worst, because the liver, as I said, is a sleepy organ, but it's very heterogeneous. So the organ itself is very heterogeneous because you have many compartments, but you have to go down all the way to the lobules, because the lobules is fascinating. You know, the lobules are heterogeneous from multi-scale angle and deeply connected to the cells and all the enzyme. And you need to tackle all the enzyme and all the toxin expression, so to be able to predict a kind of liver fibrosis, or to predict the hepatotoxicity that is generated by a drug. But I think one of the major game changer, it was this facility in science. You have science at the nanoscale. You have biologists like Dr. Nabil. They are very, very smart in cellular biology or cellular oncology, okay? And you have all what's happening in computational fluid dynamics. But one of the challenge is to bridge this knowledge and to connect this knowledge. And I'd say, I'm sorry I'm long, you know, because it's fascinating me for many years, and this is why we were able to connect, okay, the scales. And when you talk about multi-scale, is the same modalities with nuclear power, or you design a Boeing 77, or the crash test for the car, we use, you know, metals. We need to go down to the nanoscale to tackle if it is CFC or CC. I don't know. You have the crystallography background, okay? Okay, so you have a lot of defects at the nanoscale, and they have a lot of similarities with drugs. This is how we connect. We went from metals, what we call metallurgy, from engineering perspective, all the way to the drugs, because drug compounding wise, lots of features with metals. And this is how engineered they were able to impact medicine and pharmaceuticals. Okay? I hope I answered your question.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to thank Professor Nabil Haji for making this meeting. Well, we are very excited with this joint venture, and we're really, really grateful for your interest in investing in our university, especially our medical school. And well, thank you very, very much. I mean, I only have one question to Professor Cherkaoui. I mean, I'm impressed with all the achievements. You present some data with digital cohorts, okay? So, but I guess you need to have CT scans or MRI from many different people. So you need
Yes.
a permission, I guess, from every person. So I don't think this is easy or even cheap. But on the other way, on the other hand, and do you envision from this perspective a future or a near future in which everybody, every of us, will have a digital twin, so we can have precision medicine for all of us, or be recruited for clinical trials using our twins. And there another point that you need to change these digital twins because you age, you growing older, you may develop new diseases, so it make be a little bit complicated. But I would like to know your opinion or your knowledge. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is also, I would say, a relevant question. And I have two ways to address. So the first thing that when I start my, the pathway, the vision that started, I would say in 2010, okay, to pave the way to the human digital twin, okay? I think the way we put together the vision from day one, before to start any development, and we put together a team that gets clinicians on board from the beginning. So we will not develop and then reach out to them. Then you will face problems. So we work together from the beginning, from clinicians, cardiovascular surgeon in that time, cardiologists, and so on. So they were on board with us. So they endorse what we are developing. Okay? And then it was win-win because we can get all the strategic input from this clinician. Second game changer for us, to be successful, we work from day one directly with a regulatory body. And the United States is the FDA. Because FDA is very complex, So it was very strategic, endorsements also from day one. So they can see the interest, from a regulatory angle. And then when I made this presentation, this key milestones in 2022, 2023, when our first mitral valve clinical validation was approved by the FDA. That was for us a key milestone that took almost 15 years to reach these key milestones, because that was a game changer for us. But the pathway was a long pathway, and how to say, we were very consistent and have kind of research endurance to resist to this. It was, I can assure you, it was not easy to be able to get them endorsing. But as soon as it was endorsed, then it's opened doors to many items. For the data. So today the data is, of course, we have our modalities of the data. All the data, they should be anonymized, okay, as soon as you avoid all biases, fairness. So there is some what we call in the United States, we have what we call the IRB protocol that we sign with the hospital in advance, so the patient are anonymized, and we also take into consideration that we will not promote any bias and to ensure any fairness. So we have these ethics standards from the beginning, how to deal with with the data. Okay, so this is what's enabled us to validate all the protocol. So it's a long pathway and the mutual validation and so on. So now, when we start to implement the platform in hospitals, it's becoming itself self-generating of data also. Because as soon as I mentioned in my presentation, we have 2,000 patients following these surgeries in Boston Children's Hospital, 2,000 patients, okay? So all of them, what they generate as data, it was a kind of mechanism to enrich the database. The other example is Buenos Aires Hospital with Ignacio Legones, surgeon. He's a chief surgeon officer. So the hospital of Buenos Aires also contribute to enrich the database. And the 69 hospitals, what we call the ecosystem of the Baylor College of Medicine, they have 69 clinical hospitals worldwide, including 12 in Africa. So we have a wide spectrum of diversity of patient. Okay, just to share with you today, when it comes to medicine, only 4% of the African genome is included in clinical trials. 4%. Okay, that is crazy. But with our platform, we were able for the heart medical devices, when it comes to aorta valve, mechanical valve, mitral valve, stents, and so on. Now we have the African population also included in clinical trials. Okay, so it's a pathway to answer to the evolution, of course. Today, to answer to the second part of your question, you mentioned the Asian populations and so on. So today, this is where AI and machine learning, deep learning modalities, they have this capacity built in to use what we call historical data that is stored somewhere, and to do some machine learning, deep learning, how we can predict the Asian population also. Okay, so this is also in our pathway for, to take into consideration the Asian population. Okay.
So yeah, let me thank first the organization of this meeting, to the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, and also to Manuel Soto. Thank you for this organization, and also Professor Cherkaoui for your inspiring talk. My research is very close to the topics that you presented in your talk. Virtual models, virtual digital twins, virtual replica, avatar, this kind of in silico medicines was already introduced in research in medicine and clinics a few decades ago. Well, let me say at least more than a decade ago already. And there have been a lot of investment in this kind of initiatives, like let me mention the Blue Brain project in the United States, promoted by President Obama, or the BPH initiative here in Europe, the Virtual Physiology Human. And well, let me say that I'm not as enthusiastic as you in your vision of the impact of in silico medicine in biomedicine, in biology, or in medicine. In engineering design, there are two main pillars, or bioengineering design, let's say. One is enabling tools, maybe computational tools or virtual models can be in that side of the whole picture, and then knowledge. And in my opinion, engineering design, like automotive, aerospace design, is as impactful or successful as you mentioned, because we have the enabling tools, very mature tools, and also we have a deep knowledge about the physics in this kind of processes. So you mentioned 100% of success rate, and I agree with you. And on the other hand, the 10%, again, enabling tools like virtual models, digital twins, and then knowledge, okay? And we have a lack of knowledge on many diseases and many fundamental processes that take place at the molecular or the cellular level. So the combination of both tools, enabling tools, and knowledge may impact in the success rate that you mentioned. So far, with the availability of knowledge on these kind of diseases and the enabling tools that you mentioned, what's your vision of the evolution of the success rate or the impact of these kind of tools that you mentioned, virtual models, whatever? In the end, engineering design, or the application of engineering methodology to medicine. So at some point, we researchers tend to reinvent the wheel. So we call in many cases. So what's your opinion on this?
It's a very good question. So, and I will address the question from a variety of angles. Okay, and basically, you cannot have in medicine, it's much more complicated. So you cannot claim today that in 5 years, I will be 50% success rates or 60% success rates in pharmaceutical and medicine in overall. But it can be 100% success rate in few disciplines. Okay, if you break down and you narrow down in few projects, then you can claim that you have 100% success rates. Okay, like the first example that I would like to share is the one for the precise, personalized heart surgeries, when following our modalities all the way from an MRI scan, taking into consideration the cellular level, the tissue level, because it's very deep science. Today, I can say for all the surgeries that we conduct, all the way from stents, simple surgery, to fontan surgery that you need to cut the heart and connect to the lung to get the oxygen. This is very complicated surgery. So today, our success rate is 100%. So this is the typical showcase that the digital twin of the heart has 100% success rates in surgery. And this is why, at the beginning, it was a lot of resistance from surgeon, because keep in mind that the surgeon, they have their comfort zone. They are difficult to go beyond the comfort zone because they was learned by their own way. So you will ask a surgeon, to follow our modalities, then it's going to be a lot. So I see the problem is not for the success rate. I see the problem more in the endorsement of the surgeon. So this is why education is very important. So this is why the new paradigm to train the next generation of physicians so they can be well prepared to adopt this kind of modalities. And this is why I mentioned in the United States, the first example that we have between Harvard and MIT, they launched what we call Physicianeer because to address this new paradigm of surgery and so on. Other success stories, what I qualify as a success stories, lies in individuals. People, it's all a question of the people. You can have the best technology, but if you don't have the right individual and the right people who will endorse, then it's stuck in your office or in your lab. You can come to New York. I can show you all this beautiful immersive surgery. It's fascinating. But if you didn't have on the other side surgeon that will endorse that, so it will be always on the lab. Okay? So I think I can share with you many stories. One of them is one of the best surgeon in pediatric surgery from Boston Children's Hospital, one of the best hospitals in the United States, I think in the top 5. So it was one individual, Dr. Johnson. So he was amazed by the technology, by Dassault, and so on. And he was the first one who endorsed that. So now he has more than 2,000 patients. And with 2,000 patients, success rate is 100%. He never fell in any surgery, okay? I give you another success story is Ignacio Lugones, cardiovascular surgeon. He has more than 20 surgeries under his name. So he endorsed that. He is fascinated by engineering. And by the way, when he started to work with us, he decided to do a PhD in biomedical engineering. So he came, he's a cardiovascular, so he's crazy. He's a cardiovascular surgeon. He's the chief officer of the entire hospital system in Buenos Aires, and he decided to do a PhD in biomedical engineering because he's fascinated by, and now he's working on all modalities of pediatric surgery. So this is some typical example why you can get 100% success rates, but in the condition you need to get the right people endorsing that. That is very, very important. I will give you another example of 100 success rate. Today, when it comes to drug discovery, drug development, in my narrative, I said the success rate is 10%. That is, and it costs $2 billion, 10 years, 12 years cycle development, okay? So this is, but now, if I told you I can be 100% success rate, if I pick up one molecule that is already approved by the FDA, okay, like cisplatin, the oldest molecule, I can do all my screening, the virtual twin, high throughput screening. I can combine with high throughput screening with a natural product. I come up with a new molecule because I can predict the best affinity. I'm talking about science. It's not pharmaceutical. This is the hydrogen bond. This is what we call the molecular affinities, the best binding affinity between the molecule, the compound, and the target. So the target is well identified. So you come up with the best, and then you can do million of high throughput screening. But in the lab, how many high throughput screening you can do in the lab? 5 times, 5 compound in the lab. And it's cost you millions of dollars operation cost. So imagine that you can do in 2 hours, as we did with Dr. Nabil for glioblastoma, you can high throughput million of molecules, okay, in 2 hours. And you come up with a binding affinity. So when I was able to change this molecule, which is the oldest, most severe toxicity molecule, which is the cisplatin, and they reduced by 90% the molecule, and they come up with a new molecule that was approved by the FDA, this for me is 100% success, okay, for this specific pathway, okay? However, if you ask me what's gonna be your success rate if you want to develop an monoclonal antibody with CAR T cell, complicated biology, I can claim my success rate can be 10%. Okay, so this ratio of 120%, the way you put a quantitative analysis of your success rate is case by case. Okay, and now I think in near future, maybe in 10 years from now, when everything is democratized, fully connected, I think you can claim 40-50% success rates I am talking about medicine and pharmaceuticals. Okay? I hope I answered your question.
More or less, well, the case for drug discovery, this is the field. The case that you mentioned of drug discovery, this is the field of bioinformatics that has been applied for drug discovery for years. Let's say in the last years, and I don't see an impact on that technology in the success rate.
But it's beyond bioinformatics because you took a short way. It's not beyond bioinformatics because it has all the toxicity predictions. It has the pharmacokinetics, it has the pharmacodynamics, it has many components. So it's not just a short pathway.
In molecular dynamics in the end. So
yeah.
We can discuss later.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now I will jump to our friend, Professor Z. I have some questions for you. I think we all appreciate, actually, you showed us several cases, several young entrepreneur venture creations. I think the question that we have probably, not only in Seville, in many universities here in Europe, is how to motivate, how do we motivate basically the classical academic environment to see the benefits basically of their excellent research? As you mentioned, we do really amazing research, but how to translate that to, to circular economy, and how we really motivate, because basically they will tell you, why bother, and then we have to tell them why not, but we have to show them basically why not.
For my thanks, that's a good question. I be asked quite a lot. I call that two type of the way. One type is motivate, another type is selected. So it's not to be honest, not everyone is born as an entrepreneur, or is everyone want to like really commercialize. So it's true. There's lots of the university professors think about why I bothered. I already gave the couple of the reasons during my presentation. First way is now everyone has AI tool. So they definitely shorten your research to the commercialize and funderize the pathway. And more important, I do share some values with Professor Mohammed today. And when we talk about social impact, I think the things can give you the tear out to be the surgeon, to be the physician, or even to be the doctor, is you really save the lives. And the commercialize the one way to save multiple lives rather than just a single life. I do work with quite lots of the surgeons by multiplying their product. So I quite vote for the one way. It's not just a medical combined with the surgeon itself. It's a medical combined with engineers, so they can become the systematic solution. And systematic solution can be commercialized, can be product, can be the solid, stable solution for the current world. So you guys might be interested about Neuralink. The way I just wrote the article about Neuralink compared to the old-fashioned way with the brain surgeon, is a Neuralink literally use engineer mindset. The way to contact with your brain is engineer solution. It's not the traditional surgeon solution. The engineer solution is tricky, is hard, is difficult, but they provide the consistency solution with a high standard. It's not really depends, although I really admire the surgeons you mentioned, but I'm not really depends. I think the medical world in future not depends on the single surgeon's techniques. Yes. It's supposed to be depends on systematic success rate. Yes. This coming from all our help together commercialize and make that a stability. Otherwise, it will become only one surgeon's result. The third thing is, to be honest, the fund is hard and hard. The pure academic fund is hard. The commercial world get more funds. Right? Okay, hope I answered the question. Hope I, at the very least, motivate the floor with this. Thanks.
Probably we should really replicate, digital tool for surgeon.
Yes.
And we don't need to rely on one surgeon.
Yes.
So for all that.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a question for you. I think you have introduced the virtual incubation strategy. Why it is important? Is it because of risk? Because of connections?
It's because of a lot of things. Because I'm also the professor, I do have the professor hat in my hand as well. So basically, I still believe the university is a talent center. With the professors, with the students, university is a talent centers. So, but the university is a talent centers solo at this moment. They need more connection with the real world with SME, with us like incubator, with more ecosystem. So our proposal, which is already success case in China and UK, is a virtual one. Virtual means I don't need to waiting your new buildings basically facilitate. We can do immediately once we have agreement together. And virtual also means lots of the contact don't need to be really on the one single site. Then you have capability to contact the world. When we do something like this, it means we can design, we can incubate in this company has a multiple clinical trial, for instance, between the one centers in US, one centers in China, another centers in Europe. Otherwise, you need to knock the door. Knock the door is not the best way at the moment. WhatsApp is the best way at the moment for us. So that's why we promote the virtual incubator. Yeah. The third thing is the virtual incubator has a better ambassador than we call the physical incubators, because my experience is every seminar we do with our virtual incubators, I will invite the worldwide professor CEO and PhD CEO come over. You share the real story. You hear the real feel of success cases. So that makes the information, experience, and also the connection speed up quickly.
Excellent.
Hope that answers your question.
Questions?
Good afternoon. I want to thank you, professors, for such inspirational talks, and especially for the University of Seville, especially for the Medicine School of University of Seville, for giving us the opportunity to explore such an incredible synergy we have, that I'm completely sure that will be a fruitful relationship. My question is for you, Professor Jane, and it's a more operational question. It's
Sure.
Related to the incubator. So
Yeah.
basically, some of questions.
Sure.
The first one is investor. Well, is the incubator the main investor for the project, or the incubator is the one that put in contact that startup with the investor? The other one is, what is usually the size of the ticket, and additionally the time, how long the time is for the due diligence and everything to be ready for investment?
Okay, I'll give you the real data perspective, the ones. So the incubator is not just a contact from the startup with the funds, because when we talk about startup, they might lack of experience to face funds themselves. They might don't really have the clear, like the sales point, unique sales point. They found the company, they knew they have the best technology, but that's all. Majority of companies, when we incubating, they have the best technology, but they some of them even don't know whether technology really solve the real world problem and how much that's worth. So basically, the incubator is, although that's a verbal, but it's the virtual incubator, but it's still the real incubators. So generally, we take from the least 6 months to 18 months. And with these times, that's a selective one. So basically, if you give the CV, the BP, and give the ideas, our team will talk to you. Our teams is a combined partner from my background, engineer background. It depends on the project. Some from the manufacturing background, some from engineer background, some from the biochemistry background, even the surgeon background as well. Then, and also some is a successful IPO, the CEO as well. So after that, we will build up the strategy. So what you should do, and we help you to tailor the BP. We help you to find the first MVP. We talk about the minimum, the best business case. Then you're ready to go. And that time, we have funds to say whether we're going to fund you as well. And also, we will help you to connect some funds worldwide.
It depends on your market. So that's how the incubator works.
Okay, just a few remarks to close this event. Well, first of all, thank you to both speakers for such inspiring talks and Q&A. It's been really illuminating. Thank you very much. So today it's been about planting seeds, as you can see. I mean, the seeds of the future. Actually, the future is happening right before our very own eyes. So today has been really illuminating in that sense. And with that being said, I don't want to take too long. On behalf of the University of Seville, we welcome you very much to be here, and we'll look forward to collaborate effectively in the near future. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you to the Faculty of Medicine for your spectacular setup. And let's see. Let's meet in a few months and see how things develop.
Great. Thank you. Yes.